Hey Chopper, this viewer's not subscribed.
Car D Kaizoku.
This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. This video is sponsored by Sleeve Chief. There's a major restock coming for a lot of their popular sleeves, and they're going to be releasing a new Enel, Dawn sleeve, and Hollow sleeve as well. Use code CARDKaizoku for 5% off your order. Since we had so much fun doing like a curve thought experiment kind of exercise with Shanks last week, I thought might as well look at my next favorite leader on the list of 09 leaders, and it's Purple Black Luffy here. We're going to be going over what I think would be a strong curve for the deck, and this is only using cards revealed as of... There could be more cards revealed than purple and black for the deck, like more Straw Hat cards. But I'm pretty sure black's going to be for Blackbeard, and then purple, I guess. They did reveal like that new Sanji, so there could be more Straw Hat purple cards coming. And I just want to point out that this is not the sim. A lot of you guys were confused on that somehow, even though you can see like my cursor and then the fact that I'm like dragging life around and stuff and Dawn around. This is like a image editing software that I'm putting cards on different layers and dragging them around to illustrate how it would play out. Right? I don't know. I thought that would be something that would be pretty apparent, but a lot of people thought that this was a sim and that it was updated early somehow. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's take a look at the leader card. So Purple Black Luffy is a 5000 power 4 starting life leader. His leader ability reads, Dawn times 1, your characters have +1 cost. I don't think this is too impactful for this kind of deck. I think this leans more on the purple playstyle, which brings me to the second effect, which makes this leader ability, I think, really good. Your turn, once per turn, when 2 or more Dawn cards are returned to your Dawn deck from play, you can set 2 of them back out onto the field. One is rested and one is active. So essentially, if you ever have to -2 Dawn, you don't minus any Dawn, you get them back. You get one back as active, actually, so you get to use it for the turn. This makes it so a lot of your -2 Dawn or greater effects are a lot cheaper, right? They're not detrimental. So let's see how that works in practice. So I think you want to go first with this deck. I think going first makes more sense. So on your 1 Dawn turn, you could play, when you're at sea, you fight pirates. It's the 1 cost event switcher that looks at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you can find a Straw Hat, Kid Pirates, or Heart Pirates type character and add it to your hand. Or card, not character, but this will be looking for characters in this deck. So with this, you'll mainly want to find a ramp effect for your next turn, your 3 Dawn turn. And that can be done in the form of Zoro, the new Zoro that comes out in OP09, or Zoro Juro. Zoro Juro is an existing card from OP05. So I think you want to find either one of these two. With when you're at sea, you fight pirates. So let's say we get OP09 Zoro, since he's a new card. Let's experiment with this new card here. So that goes to your hand. Then you pass the turn. So your opponent takes their turn, they do some 2 Dawn play, they pass it back to you, you're on your 3 Dawn turn. Yeah, and since this is not a super interactive deck, I'm not going to show what my opponent's board is like I did with the Shanks video. Because I think in that one, it did matter what they had on board, but with this Luffy deck, it's just get to 10 ASAP, no matter what your opponent does. Okay, so 3 Dawn turn. So we play Zoro, his on play lets you return any amount of Dawn. So we pick 2 for our leader ability purposes. So it returns it. So what Zoro does is he ramps you 1 active Dawn, so you'll have it active. And then your leader ability activates, so you get 1 rested and 1 active back. Let me differentiate. At this point, you'll have 2 rested. These 2 are rested, and then these 2 came back active, actually. If you had another when you're at sea, you fight pirates, you could play that, or just swing for 7 with your leader at this point. I couldn't think of anything that it's 2 cost that fits into this at the moment. So yeah, swinging 7, I guess, isn't bad. So they take, and then it passes to your opponent's turn. It's their 4 Dawn turn now. They'll do whatever they do, and then pass it back to you, so you'll naturally ramp to 6 here. Now, on this turn, you have to ramp twice so that you can hit 8, and then hit 10 Dawn the turn after, which I think is actually pretty possible with this deck. I think there's a couple ways to do it, actually. So you could do like a second Zoro here. If you happen to have it, maybe you found it with your extra searcher that you played last turn. So another Zoro comes out, you return 2 Dawn, and this is rested here. You get 1 active, and then your leader ability activates. Let me separate it more clearly here. So this one comes back rested, and this one comes back active. So you have 5 Dawn to work with here. What you could do is play like a Miss All Sunday. This ramps you 1 more rested Dawn. So that brings you to 8. And that's all the Dawn for the turn, and you draw a card too. Then you swing 5, and you swing 5 with the Zoro and leader. And that's one way to get to 10 the next turn. But let's look at some other ways to do it before we move on to our 10 Dawn turn, that is, as I control Z here. Alright, so 6 Dawn turn, right? We could do like a 3 cost pudding, so that rests these 3. And then yeah, we could play another Zoro here. So that will return 2 Dawn, and this is rested as well now. And then you'll get 1 rested Dawn back with pudding, 1 active Dawn with Zoro, and then rested Dawn from your leader, and then active Dawn from your leader ability. So here again, you're at 8 with 2 cards. Is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, you hit 10 next turn with this play. You even have 2 active Dawn to use, so you swing for 7 and then 5 with your character Zoro. And then another thing you can do is just play a second Zoro, then you return 2 Dawn, and this one's rested, and then you'll get 1 rested back and 1 active. And then Zoro gives you 1 active. And then you can play Mr. 2 instead of Miss All Sunday. That kind of gives you the same outcome because you ramp 1. So that is 4 Dawn rested plus 1 active. You have 2 Dawn, so you swing for 7 and then 5 from the character. So yeah, I guess you can treat Mr. 2 as extra copies of Miss All Sunday, except you don't get the card draw. It just makes it a little more consistent to hit 10. So we looked at the ways we could hit 8 Dawn on our 3rd turn. Let's take a look at what we play on our 10 Dawn turn after that. But let's say we did the Miss All Sunday version because I wanted all to be Straw Hats. Alright, so you're at 8 Dawn at this point. Pass to your opponent, they go to 6. You're a whole turn of Dawn ahead of them. They'll do their 6 Dawn play, it passes back to you, you go to 10. So there's a few options to go for your top end as well. Right, you could do this 9 cost Lin Lin. So what you do for her is -1 Dawn, and then you can add one of their 6 costs to the top or bottom of their life, so that gets rid of a body on board. Then you heal 1 life, so you'll be a little healthier. You heal a life here, get rid of one of their threats, and then you swing 5, 5, 5, and then 6 with your leader because you have an active Dawn. That's a pretty small impact play though. So let's take a look at what else we could play. So we could play like 9 cost Kaido. On play, he can -4 Dawn. So here's -4. Our leader ability activates, you get 1 rested back and 1 active. And then we should have 2 active at this point. And then yeah, he pops a 6 cost on board. And then you could swing 5, 5, 5, and then 7, and then 10. That's pretty strong. It does kind of like what the Big Mom did, except he pops a body, but you don't heal. So it's more aggressive because he gets to attack 2. And then of course there's the secret Luffy, 10 cost Luffy. I think this card synergizes really well with our leader. So this one you kind of have to attack first before playing him. So actually we'll do like 5 from Zoro, 5 from Zoro, 5 from Miss All Sunday. Then you'll play Luffy. Then you'll -10 Dawn. I have to do this one by one actually. one second. So -10 Dawn. Then bottom deck all your characters. Then you'll, from your leader ability, get 1 rested Dawn back and 1 active. You'll use this Luffy's ability to tap this Dawn to give you another active Dawn. So you're at 3 with 1 active, you attach 1 to leader and attack for 6. And then the special thing about this Luffy is that when you use that -10 on play, you get to take a second turn. So it's your turn again. Your opponent at this point is still at 6 Dawn. So you'll go up to 5, use 10 cost Luffy's ability to rest 1, and then go up to 6. And yeah, you could just swing, I guess, 10, 12 or something, or you could play another character out. So I think that's a really strong play. Another option would be to play that Kaido and Lin Lin from OP08. Their effect isn't on play though, you do have to wait a turn. This is where it gets kind of risky because the fact that this card has to survive until your next turn means that it's susceptible to be answered by your opponent, right? I think Lucci with the Annie's Lobby and then Tempest Kick, Rankyaku, that's -6 cost, that brings Kaido and Lin Lin to 4. And then if they just do the Helmepo Lucci combo with the Gecko Moria into... Yeah, so this combo here gives, what, -9 cost that can kill at 10 cost, because Lucci can KO at 2 cost on play. So that's one way Lucci can handle the 10 cost Kaido and Lin Lin before they get to attack. And then of course, Blue can just Red Rocket, that bottom decks it. Enel can just Raigo it, that just KOs it. Red Purple Law has to use like, what, 3 raise max effects, so that's probably unlikely. So might actually be good into Red Purple Law, but then again, you're a 4 life leader that has to survive Red Purple Law until you can get to 10 Dawn, so that's easier said than done. But yeah, if this Kaido and Lin Lin does live, what does it do? Well, it's actually a very strong loaded card, because it reads when attacking, you can -10 Dawn, and then you can KO all other characters on board, both you and your opponents. Then put up to 1 card from the top of your deck on your life pile, and then trash up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life. So it's like a 10 cost Big Mom and then the 10 cost Kaido mushed into 1 card. So let's say they didn't have an answer to it, and then it's their 8 Dawn turn. They get to do whatever they do. Whatever bodies they play will probably destroy. It passes back to you. So you actually have 10 Dawn to work with before you minus 10 Dawn here. That means we could do some cheeky things actually. So the fact that we're a black leader, part black, means that we can run Sabo. And then Sabo does prevent the whole board from being KO'd. So if you actually play Sabo, it prevents your board from being killed by your own Kaido and Linlin. But yeah, this is an unsearchable card in the deck. I don't think it's a reliable strategy. You just need to happen to have it at the same time you play Kaido and Linlin, which is way easier said than done. There's no like card draw in this deck too that helps you find it. But just for illustrative purposes, I just want to go over like best case scenario with the warning that yeah, this is not a consistent strategy at all. And then on top of that, if we had something like the Black Maria from OP08, let's say we lost to Zoro from trading characters earlier on, we could play that on board. So you play this first, you play Sabo, give it immunity to KO, and at this point, you could swing with your characters on board that if they have survived the previous turns, you could do that. And then you swing with the Kaido and Linlin, so you minus 10 Dawn. This KOs everything on your opponent's board only because your board is immune to KO. And then you'll heal 1 life, and then they take 1 life. Then your leader ability activates, you get 1 rested and 1 active back. They have to defend against a 12k attack, and then you do Dawn Leader, attack for 6. And then you use Black Maria's effect to ramp 5 rested Dawn. And then your opponent would be at 8 Dawn or 10 Dawn at this point, so you do get to keep all this Dawn, unless they're a deck that minuses Dawn. But yeah, against most decks, this Black Maria will let you keep this Dawn. So you're at 7 Dawn, next turn you'll go to 9, back up to 9 Dawn. It's like you didn't lose any Dawn at all. But again, I want to preface that this strategy is really inconsistent. You have to have all the pieces in hand and none of them are searchable, right? I don't think that's a strategy you should rely on if you want to be like competitive with the deck. I think your best bet is the 10 cost Luffy or the Kaido. The Linlin could be an option, but I feel like this deck doesn't really stall, right? So just putting a card in life and then dealing with it later once you have a bunch of big bodies out. I don't know, I guess it's always a valid strategy, but I just think that Kaido and Luffy are bigger impact plays. Especially against like Black Yellow Luffy. This Luffy like plays around his leader ability. Or not leader ability, like the 2-cost brothers giving their leaders the 4k buff. Since you take a second turn with this Luffy, that buff goes away actually. Because it only lasts for 1 of your turns. And then one honorable mention is Douglas Bullet, right? He's an 8-cost 10k power, and he doesn't have an on-play, but he does have an activate main where if you return 4 Dawn, you can rest 2 of your opponent's 6-cost or lower characters. And then he gains double attack himself. But if you have to like wait a turn to utilize the double attack portion, then I would rather play like the Kaido and Linlin, right? If these 2 cards require waiting a turn for them to be able to attack, I'd rather want the one that clears the board and then heals a life for you and makes your opponent take a life instead of like rest 2 blockers and double attack. So that's my thoughts on Bullet. And then yeah, at any point in the game, if you have like 2 spare Dawn to use, you could always play like Top Knot. This is like a card that fills the curve when you need it. Because what it does is Dawn -2, you can bottom deck a 4 cost, and then since our leader ability procs off of the -2 Dawn, you get it back. So it's like 2 Dawn to bottom deck for free. Not for free, you get 1 active Dawn back, so it costs like 1 Dawn technically. 1 Dawn to bottom deck a 4 cost, that's really strong. Let's see, is there anything else I wanted to go over? Oh, real quick, I did show like Zorojiro in the beginning. Let's go over like a Zorojiro curve. I do think that the 09 Zoro curve is a lot stronger, a lot easier, because he works on play. You don't have to wait for him to attack the next turn. But just for being like exhaustive in our analysis, let's take a look at the Zorojiro curve. And yeah, there are games where we won't draw this every time, so having like a backup 3-cost play, I guess, isn't the worst thing in the world. So let's rewind it. So 1 Dawn, when you're at C, we'll find Zorojiro this time. Passes to your opponent, 2 Dawn, passes back to you. You'll get the 3 Dawn, play Zorojiro, attack for 5, pass to your opponent. It's their 4 Dawn turn. They'll do whatever 4 Dawn thing, and hopefully they don't have a way to kill Zorojiro. Zorojiro can die pretty easily since he's only 3 cost. Or if your opponent wants to starve you, they just have to not attack you, because if you're not at 3 life, Zorojiro can't ramp for you. So if they don't attack you, that's bad for your plan, for your curve. If they kill Zorojiro, that's bad for your curve. That's why I think he's too much of a liability. But let's say like perfect scenario, he survives, your opponent attacks you, you take a life, you're at 3. So it's our 5 Dawn turn with the Zorojiro, right? So if we swing with Zorojiro without putting Dawn, we ramp 1. So we have 6 Dawn to work with. So we'll play the 09 Zoro, that's 3 rested Dawn, -2. So that's rested, these are active. You'll get 1 back rested from leader, 1 active from leader, and then 1 active from Zoro himself. Okay, yeah, we have 5 Dawn to play Miss All Sunday here. That gives us another Rested Dawn. So this way we hit 8. We just have to not attack with Zoro with Dawn. So yeah, you cannot afford to attach Dawn to Zoro when you swing if you want to hit 8 and then 10 the turn after. And yeah, this Miss All Sunday could be Mr. 2, or it could be a Pudding that you play first and then Zoro after. I think that gives you 2 Dawn that way too. So yeah, this is less optimal because they don't have to defend a 5k hit from Zoro. It's a 4k hit that they can just let go. Meanwhile, the Zoro, 09 Zoro play, they do have to defend this 5k. I guess you don't have to attack with them, but yeah, most likely you will. So I think with Zoro and Zoro being 3 costs, it makes it a lot more consistent to hit 10 on your 4th turn this way. With this Zoro being the more consistent play, because yeah, this Zoro again has to live, and you have to be at 3 life too. So this one's a lot easier to play around. This one is like, they can't really do anything about it. But yeah, you're not going to have this card in hand every time unless they release another purple Straw Hat Searcher that is cheap, which I don't think they will, because they printed this 4-cost Searcher Zoro in the purple starter deck. I don't think they're going to give purple like a 1-cost Straw Hat Searcher on top of this, and when you're at sea. I feel like that would be too many searchers in purple for Straw Hats. So yeah, I think that's all I have for this curve analysis for Purple Black Luffy. It seems it is quite easy to get to 10 Dawn on your 4th turn, allowing you to play your scary top end. In regards to top end, I think Secret Luffy beats out Kaido and Linlin, but Kaido and Linlin is a lot more fun, a lot more memey, especially if you can combo it with the Sabo to protect your own board. And yeah, there's a bunch of other strong purple cards like this Sanji. I can rest a 6 cost and then he gains rush 2. And you can even use him with your leader ability. He does give you like the 2 Dawn back. So that's one option too, if you don't find your top end or if you want to just take it a little slow. Let me know what you guys think of Purple Black Luffy. I think he seems fun. Ramp always seems fun. It's just that for 3 turns you're just playing like small bodies out while having to survive against your opponent. Against slow decks, this is no problem, but against like decks like Red Purple Law, Kalgara even, or even the Zoo Zoro, this might be a little hard unless you have a bunch of 2k counters, but then you do have to realize that like this Zoro, 09 Zoro has no counter, Secret Luffy has no counter, Kaido Linen has no counter, Miss All Sunday has no counter, so it might be a little risky. But definitely against slow decks, this will like stomp them, overwhelm them. So I guess we'll just have to see it in practice, because yeah, this is just planning out like the perfect scenario in like Clip Studio Paint, not in a real life duel or anything like that. So we'll have to see when that time comes, but I'll have faith with this leader, and I do like the leader art itself, so I want this deck to be good. So you can bet that I'll try out this deck when 09 releases on the sim early. And yeah, if you like this kind of video, I guess I could do like Blackbeard next if you guys want to see Blackbeard. These like curved theory crafting videos are quite fun to make. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, give the video a like, comment if you want, let me know, feedback too. I wouldn't mind getting some feedback. And if you're not subscribed already, please do subscribe. I do a variety of One Piece videos, One Piece card game videos. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.
Car D Kaizoku.